Good morning student. Today I am going to start history chapter for 8th standard, chapter number 5, and chapter name is traders to ruler. So in this chapter we will discuss how European companies and East India Company changed their character from trader to ruler. In the previous chapter, India in the 18th century, we already have discussed that the weak political power and weak center gave an opportunity to European company to increase their powers. So different European trading company set up their trading center in the different part of India, especially near the coastal area. So different companies from Holland, England, France and Denmark set up their industries. And the trading center that was set up by European companies called factories, and the agents or commercial officers who run the companies are called factors. In 1498, Vasco da Gama, a sailor, Portuguese sailor, he discovered a new sea route to India and established the Portuguese factories at Calicut. After that, in CE 1602, Dutch established a Dutch East India Company to start a trading relationship with India. The next European trading center in India, French East India Company. So French East India Company that was founded by French government and it was established 1664. French East India Company set up their headquarters at Pondicherry and Duplessis became new governor of French East India Company. The next European trading company in India was English East India Company. So English East India Company was formed by a group of merchants, English merchants, on 31st December 1600 when English East India Company received a charter from Queen Elizabeth I of England to start a trading relationship with India. The company sent their two captains, Captains Hawkins and Sir Thomas Rai, in the court of Jahangir, and Jahangir gave them permission to start a factory at Surat. After that, they set up their industrial sector and industries at Surat, Agra, Ahmedabad, Hooghly and in other part of India. They also built a fort called St. George, and this fort was well equipped with the modern weapons, guns and equipment that was mostly used during the time of war. The next one is the Anglo-French rivalries, means Anglo-French war. Now French East India Company also set up their factories and the English East India Company also set up their factories near the coastal area of India. Now there is a confusion and misunderstanding between French East India Company and Anglo East India Company, and these confusion and misunderstanding brought three wars between French East India Company and English East India Company. And these were popularly known as a Carnatic War. In these war, English East India Company and British got emerged victorious, and French lost their power and British became a supreme power in India. The next topic is a British conquest of Bengal. So after that, British started to capture the Indian rulers and annex the British Indian territories. Now Bengal became an independent state under the leadership of Murshid Quli Khan. After the death of Murshid Quli Khan, Ali Wordi Khan became a new governor of Bengal, and after that he was succeeded by his grandson Sirajuddaula. But the relationship between Sirajuddaula and East India Company was not good. So Bengal lost its independence under the rule of Sirajuddaula and British came to power. So what was the causes of conflicts between Sirajuddaula and East India Company? Why they came, the reason of conflicts between English and East India Company was that when Sirajuddaula became a new governor of Bengal, then he realized that East India Company are trying to capture their settlement in Bengal. So he asked the East India Company not to do so, not to capture their territory, but company did not pay any attention to his repeated request. So it angered the Sirajuddaulah and he declared war and captured the Fort William in Calcutta. When news of capture reached to Clive, he prepared a plan against Nawab with their main ministers like Rai Dular, who was treasurer of Nawab, Mir Jafar, who was army commander of Nawab, and Jagat Seth, who was richest banker of Bengal. And according to plan, it was decided that Mir Jafar with his army joined the Robert Clive forces during the war. So on June 23, 1757, the Battle of Plassey was brought out between Nawab of Bengal and East India Company. And according to plan, Mir Jafar joined the Robert Clive and Sirajuddaulah was completely defeated and he ran away to Murshidabad, and later he was captured and killed by East India Company. So after the Battle of Plassey, the position and condition of Bengal was totally changed. After the Battle of Plassey, according to the plan, Mir Jafar became a new governor of Bengal and company started to directly interfere in the political and economic life of Bengal. But Mir Jafar was not happy with the interference of a company. So he declared war against the East India Company, but company deposed the Mir Jafar, replaced the Mir Jafar, and Mir Qasim, his son-in-law, made a new Nawab of Bengal. But relationship between Mir Qasim from starting was not good with the East India Company. He made some changes in his administration for the welfare of the people, like training his army on the European lines, transfer of treasury from Murshidabad to Munger. But British did not like that kind of changes that was done by the Mir Qasim. So under these unhappy circumstances, war was broke out between Nawab of Bengal, that was Mir Qasim, Shah Alam, Mughal emperor, and Mir Qasim and Sirajuddaulah, Nawab of Awadh. So three forces at the Buxar on October 22, 1764 fought with the East India Company, and in this war British matched victorious. Sirajuddaulah, Nawab of Awadh, Shah Alam, Mughal emperor, and Mir Qasim was completely defeated. And this battle is the most important event and turning point in the history of India, because after this battle British or East India Company emerged as an unchallenged power. After the Treaty of Allahabad was signed between the Nawab of Awadh and Robert Clive, according to this treaty, Nawab agreed to pay 50 lakh rupees to company, and Mughal Emperor Shah Alam, who was also engaged in the war, to granted the right of Diwani to company. The right of Diwani means Mughal Emperor Shah Alam gave land revenue, land collection to from Bengal, Bihar and Odisha the permanent basis to East India Company, and in return company agreed to pay 26 lakh annually to him. So next one is the dual government or Dyachi. Dual government and Dyachi system, where system is ruled by two rulers. So under this system now rule was carried on by Nawab and East India Company. And under the dual system, Nawab was responsible for maintaining law, order, peace and for the welfare of the people. But company was responsible for maintaining military and has a right to collect the revenue from the different part of India. And under the dual system, company has enjoyed all the powers without any kind of responsibility regarding the welfare of the subjects. So next one is the Regulating Act 1773. So like the Battle of Plassey and Battle of Buxar, Regulating Act 1773 is also a most important event in the history of India, because this act changed the function of East India Company from trading to administration center. And after this act, company has a direct control and direct power to interfere in the political, economic and social life of Indian rulers. The next one is a subsidiary lines. Subsidiary lines that is started by Lord Wellesley, and according to the subsidiary lines, Indian ruler has to maintain a British troop, British army in his court, and he has to pay for their maintenance, and he also has to keep a British resident in his court, and he would not employ any other European person or European officer and not communicate with any Indian rulers without the permission of a British resident. In return, British promised to protect the Indian rulers from any third party. So next one is the Anglo-Mysore War. Anglo-Mysore War fought for 30 years, and it was fought between Anglo and ruler of Mysore. Hyder Ali and Tipu were two rulers of Mysore. So first Anglo-Mysore War that was fought between Hyder Ali, Maratha and East India Company, and it came to an end with the peace treaty, with the peace of treaty. With the peace of treaty it came to an end, and it was fought in 1767. So after the peace of treaty, the first Anglo-Mysore War came to an end. The second Anglo-Mysore War, the reason of the second Anglo-Mysore War was that the terms of the peace of treaty was not followed by East India Company. In the peace of treaty, it was decided by the British and Hyder Ali that they help with each other in the case of attack by any third power. But when Hyder Ali was attacked by Marathas, British forces did not help him. So Hyder Ali angered and he declared war against British. Hyder Ali died in 1782, and Tipu Sultan, the son of Hyder, continued war against British, but at last war came to an end after signing the Treaty of Bangalore. And the next one is the third Anglo-Mysore War. So reason of third Anglo-Mysore War is that the company won a sport of two power against Tipu, Nawab of Hyderabad and Marathas. So in the third Anglo-Mysore War, Tipu was completely defeated by three joint powers and forced to sign a Treaty of Seringapatam in 1792. The fourth Anglo-Mysore War. The reason of a fourth Anglo-Mysore War that Lord Wellesley, the Governor General of East India Company, compelled the Tipu to accept a subsidiary alliance. But Tipu refused to accept the subsidiary alliance, and he declared a war against the East India Company. But in the war, Tipu was killed and defeated, and company amassed as a victorious and annexed all the Mysore territories. So next one is the Anglo-Maratha Wars. British fought 3 wars with the Marathas and took 43 years to control the Marathas' power. So first Anglo-Maratha Maratha War that was fought between 1775 to 1782, and this war is also known as a first Maratha Anglo War. The reason of the first Anglo-Maratha War, the issue of succession to the throne of Peshwa, means the throne of Peshwa is the main reason, succession to the throne of Peshwa is the main reason of a first Anglo-Maratha War, and it was fought when Van Hastings was Governor General of India, and this war came to an end after signing the Treaty of Salbai. The second Anglo-Maratha War. The second Anglo-Maratha War was fought between 1803 to 1806, and it was fought when Lord Wellesley was Governor General of India, and this war came to an end after signing the Treaty of Bassein. Under the Treaty of Bassein, Bajirao II signed that he will accept a subsidiary alliance, he will maintain a British troop in his court and pay for their maintenance. The third Anglo-Maratha War, and that was fought between the period 1817 to 1818, and this war was fought when Mark Hastings was a Governor General of India. So in the second Maratha War, subsidiary alliance was accepted by Bazirao II. So after signing the subsidiary alliance, Maratha realized that they are now under the total control of a British East India Company. So Bazirao II reunited the Maratha powers against the British and declared a war. The war continued for 2 years. Finally, Maratha were defeated and large part of their territories was annexed by British. So after the Third Anglo-Maratha War, British became unchallenged power in India. The next one, Anglo-Sikh relationship. Now Punjab is still independent and was ruled by a able ruler, Maharaja Ranjit Singh. There was good relationship between Maharaja Ranjit Singh and East India Company, but after the death of Maharaja Ranjit Singh in 1839, there was political instability in the Punjab. So British took advantage of weak center and political instability in Punjab, and they declared a war against Sikh and Khalsas in 1845, and this is known as the first Anglo-Sikh War. The first Anglo-Sikh War came to an end by a Treaty of Lahore in 1846, but still Sikh refused to accept their defeat, and again in 1848 they declared a war. But in 1849, Lord Alhaji, the Governor General of India, they defeated the Sikh army, Khalsa army, and annexed the Punjab. Maharaja Dalip Singh was prisoned off and sent to England. The next method that was used by British to expand their British Empire in India. So Lord Alhaji used 3 different methods to expand British Empire in India. So first one is a war and conquest, that was fought with the Mysore and Marathas, then doctrine of lapse, and third one maladministration or misgovernance. So first one is a doctrine of lapse. Doctrine of lapse that was introduced by Lord Alhaji to expand the British Empire, and according to this lapse, if any Indian ruler died without having natural son or daughter, means natural children, natural heir, then his estate would automatically pass into the hands of a British Empire. According to this lapse, British did not recognize their adopted children as a rightful heir or their natural son or a daughter. So under the doctrine of lapse, they annexed Tara, Sambalpur, Jhansi and Nagpur. The next one is abolition of a title and pension. The next method that was used by Lord Alhaji to expand the British Empire, he abolished the title and pension. The company declared that company will not pay any pension and titles to the childless Indian rulers after their death, and their territory would automatically come into the hands of a company after their death. The next one, annexation on the basis of misgovernance. Awadh was only a state that was annexed on the basis of misgovernance by the Lord Alhaji. Lord Alhaji announced that he will pay 12 lakh rupees to the Nawab of Awadh and sent to Calcutta. The excuse he given to the people that he want to free the people from the Nawab's mismanagement, but in practice people got no relief. So other state that was annexed by Alhaji on the basis of misgovernance were Sikkim, Pune, Tanjore and Karnataka. So in this chapter you have also studied the important dates that are given and their related incident. So in this chapter we have studied about the European traders, means how they changed their character from trading to ruling class, and different system, the Archie system, wars, Anglo-Mysore War and Anglo-Maratha War. So take reading of all the dates, important dates that are given in chapter thoroughly. So thanks and have a nice day.